All right, I am going to show you how to create a table in Google Docs that you can use as your table for your data binder in your classroom. So for those of you that aren't real familiar with Google Docs or aren't real familiar with creating tables, with everything, there's multiple ways you can do it. I'm just going to show you the way that I use. First, right now, as you notice, the page is a vertical alignment. If you want to change this to a horizontal or landscape, all you do is go up here to File, and then we're going to go to Page Setup. So when I click on Page Setup, there's lots of different options we have here. So I can go with the portrait, that's the up and down or the vertical alignment. We could go with landscape. So if I do that, it's going to make it go horizontal or side to side. Now I'm going to be printing these off to have my students color them in. But if I was not going to, I've been starting to change the paper a little bit to see what'll fit on my screen and also on their Chromebook screen. So you can kind of mess around with these. So if I wanted to go to 11 by 17, this gives me maximum screen space on my Chromebook or for the students on their Chromebook. I'm not going to use that because I am going to print these off and I don't want to use that much of that size paper. We don't want Kyle to get upset with us. So we're just going to go to our regular standard. I can also change the page color. Again, when kids are on the Chromebook, sometimes looking at the white page might bother their eyes, and sometimes it's just nice to get some color in there. But since I'm going to be printing this off, and I'm conscious of things like ink, I'm going to leave it white. Now over here are my margins. Again, I've changed the margins to maximize the amount of space on the page. I've just gone down to 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to click OK. And notice now I have this horizontal page set up. So what we need to do now is we need to determine the amount of columns that are needed for our data sheet. So in this presentation, I have this form template. There's a link to it from the resource page. There's also a link to it from the written directions on how to create a table in Google Docs. So basically what I need to do is I need to have enough columns. Remember, columns go up and down. I used to have a lot of trouble remembering this. I teach it to my 7th grade students. Columns hold up buildings. They're kind of like pillars. So to get the amount of columns we need, I simply add up the numbered bullet points here. So 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12. So I'm going to go back over here, and now I'm going to actually create my table. So I click on Table, I hover over the Insert Table, and then I simply fill in the amount of boxes that I need. So I need 12, and I always like to have a few rows all set up already. So I click on that, and notice there's 12 rows, and what it does is it makes the rows all of the same width. Now, if we want to make this look just a little bit nicer, there's a couple things that we can do. Let's say I want these first 2 columns to match up with what I have on my form template. So these are just my identification columns. So I'll click on here, and I'll write identification. So now I have 2 columns that make up the identification. I'm going to do a merge of these 2 cells. So what we can do is we can highlight both those cells. We can click on Table, and I'm simply going to click on Merge Cells. So notice it makes 1 cell there. It combines the 2. So we can then center this to make it look nice. I just hit that button up there. There's also some hotkeys. Shift Control E does that, and you notice when you hover over the center icon there, it has that. Now I'm also going to jazz this up a little bit. I'm going to make this a little bit colorful. So to do that, I'll click on More. I want this whole box to be a specific color. So I'll click on the background color. Again, I'm going to be printing this off, so I'm just going to use shades of gray. So I'll click on that, and we see that looks pretty nice like that. So then here we have our two identification columns. I'm going to come over here and I see that the standard is one column and then the topic is the other. So then I'll go standard and I'll go topic. Again, if I want to censor all of this, I might just select all. So you can either drag your cursor over all of the documents there to highlight it to select all, or you can hit Control A and it will do it for you. And then I'll click my censoring icon and it will censor everything on there for me. So then I would just go through here, and then my next four columns are general subject skills. So I will type, well, maybe we'll just merge these columns first. So again, we go up to table, merge cells, and it creates one cell there. So general subject skills. So if I taught math, I'd replace math with subject. Then I'll put my categories here. So those are just generic right now. You're going to fill those in as you need. We can also change the width of the columns by simply dragging the line over, dragging it over here, however wide you need it to be. So hopefully that helps you better understand how to create a table in Google Docs.